So me and the family just finished watching Jack Frost. Okay, so not a dry eye in the house. We all had that smile. We were looking at each other, just like. Anywho, that's the Grinch, 2 sugars. Been watching Christmas movies all week. Okay, so let's start. I wanted to talk about Beterbiev real quick. Beterbiev has been hunting Canelo Alvarez, all right? And I don't know if Beterbiev himself has been hunting Canelo Alvarez, more so the boxing public and the media and everybody who's involved in boxing want to see that fight very badly, especially when we have Canelo Alvarez jumping up 2 weight classes to take on Makabu for the WBC cruiserweight title. And funny thing about that is Canelo Alvarez, he claims that he didn't even know, and I believe him, he was unaware that Eddie Reynoso was going to request that from the WBC, okay? And when he found out, he said, I'm a warrior, I'm his warrior, so let's go, all right? Fine. Eddie Reynoso said that he's seen Canelo Alvarez sparring with heavyweights and beating heavyweights, okay? But because of that, you definitely have the boxing public saying, okay, well, undisputed at 168. Where else to go? We've seen you beat Kovalev before at 175, and he looked slow and short and kind of pudgy at 175. He definitely struggled there, but that's what we want. Okay, we don't want any champion. How fun is that? Champions just blowing through guys without actually pushing their limits. If he looked his most vulnerable at 175, that's where we want him. Case in point, Roberto Duran. Roberto Duran, he looked extremely vulnerable. The more he moved up, he went up to welterweight, was looking kind of vulnerable. Saying he beat Sugar Ray Leonard, yeah, but he was looking, Wilfred Benitez, he was looking vulnerable. Then he went up to middleweight and definitely looked beatable. I mean, this guy was, and that's the thing about Roberto Duran. He didn't just move up. He moved up, fought the best guys. He fought Tommy Hearns. He fought Marvelous Marvin Hagler. This guy is incredible. Roberto Duran, totally incredible. So you kind of want the same thing for Canelo Alvarez. Most recently, Lomachenko, not looking so good at 135. Well, he looks good at 135, but not as good as he looked in the lighter weight classes. He just looked unbeatable, though he lost to Orlando Salido. But that was his, first real challenge coming out of the amateurs. He was fighting with that amateur style. Welcome to the pros, I always say that. Plus the low blows, coming in way overweight, all those things. None of those things helped. But Lomachenko looking vulnerable at 135 and staying there and fighting there and becoming multiple, welterweight champion there, and now back on the hunt to be undisputed, and that's what he wants to do. Lomachenko, he gets, all the praise in the world for me. Canelo Alvarez, if you look at the boxing public, challenging Canelo Alvarez to fight at light heavyweight instead, that makes sense to me. Beterbiev is like, well, let's go. Here's the thing that I want to say about this. I think what we all need to do, and I've said this before, and if you've seen my live stream, seen my podcast, seen me speak on the subject before, I'm going to stay consistent here with this. I don't think Beterbiev should be focused on Canelo Alvarez. Yeah, respond to an interviewer, to the media, to whoever asking you about Canelo. Yeah, if Canelo, wants to fight, I'll fight him, stuff like that. But I don't think that should be his focus. His focus should be to finish unifying, becoming undisputed at light heavyweight. That's his home. I think it's almost disrespectful. I think it's bizarre that he should be focused on Canelo. I would see Canelo as somebody who's under me. If I was Beterbiev or Bivol or anybody light heavyweight, I wouldn't be focused on Canelo. Just like going as far as talking to Usyk about Canelo. Would you fight Canelo? Sure, I'll go to cruiserweight, fight Canelo. I think these fighters, and I can't wait for the fighter to openly say it. And I think Boo Boo Andrade has said it, okay? But since I can't repeat exactly what he said verbatim, I'm going to leave that alone. But I can't wait for someone to stand on it. Don't ask me about Canelo. If he's not, especially as a light heavyweight or heavyweight or anything like that, look, I'm focusing on dominating my weight class. I'm not going to look at this little guy until he stepped into my weight class and say, this is what he's going to do. Don't ask me about him. This is my weight class and I'm going to dominate. I can't wait for someone to say that. And Beterbiev, that's how I see Beterbiev. I see him as when he fought Marcus Brown, it looked like a horror movie, okay? This guy looked like Leatherface or something. just hunting him down. Like Jason Voorhees. He like, kill. Blood all over the place. It's his division, okay? Take on Bivol. Become undisputed. Another thing about Canelo Alvarez is this. It seems like it's taken them a while to cement that fight with Makabu. I think Makabu knocks him out. I've been saying this. It should be no shock to anyone who's watched my channel, watched this channel, my podcast, any of my live streams. I think Makabu knocks him out. And I think there's a bit of hesitation there, but I don't know for sure, okay? If they decide, we're not going to do it, I get it, okay? So, two things to end this, to wrap this up. In conclusion, if Canelo Alvarez were to fight Makabu and beat Makabu, I don't want to see him doing anything other than fight at light heavyweight, period. If you beat a cruiserweight champion, I'm not trying to even hear Charlo. I'm not trying to hear David Benavidez. I'm not trying to hear Bubu Andrade. I'm not trying to hear any of that. Triple G. I'm not trying to. If you knock out a cruiserweight, I'm not trying to hear any of that. You're just too much. I would like to see you go through the light heavyweight division, period. Secondly, if you lose to Makabu, get knocked out by Makabu like I think so, then that's just far too much. And maybe you should fight David Benavidez at super middleweight. Maybe you should go back, start looking at Andre, looking at Charlo, looking at Triple G for a third fight. If you cannot beat Makabu, I wouldn't blame him for not even campaigning at light heavyweight. But campaigning at light heavyweight would make Canelo great. Like Roberto Duran, top 6 greatest fighters of all time. The only way you accomplish something like that is when you do the unthinkable. Roberto Duran campaigned at middleweight, eventually beating Iran Barkley when, he was an old, small man. I don't think Canelo Alvarez wins at cruiserweight. But if he does, I don't want to see him anywhere else. As far as Artur Beterbiev, I don't think he should be focused on Canelo Alvarez. I think these guys need to fight each other and dominate their weight classes. I think the same goes for Jamal Charlo. He should be trying to unify with Bubu Andrade. Munguia's talking about becoming a mandatory, right? Whatever happens there. Triple G, all those guys. David Benavidez, do what you have to do. Beterbiev, same for you. Fight Bivol, become undisputed, do all those things. Showbiz the dope. Hey, look, I hope you guys have a tremendous happy holidays. And I will be going live tomorrow, last day this week, for the Showbiz in the Morning podcast. Please be there. I'm out.